Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and before we get started here, we'll need to run through our risk disclosure, so we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so just to remind one that the content that's being distributed and published by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse any future security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of this information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risks. Not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more than their original investment. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex. And past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. Good morning, Will. We're going to go ahead now and take a look at the news portal here. So what kind of news we have today that could impact the markets. So just go ahead and make that switch here. All right. I'm just going to pause here for a few seconds and see and make sure. So a big day today. We have FOMC. FOMC has the potential, obviously, of impacting the markets here. Coming in at so we have a FOMC press conference with Fed member Powell. Okay, and then we have quite a bit in the way of earnings. Okay, so earnings season. We have part of the Magnificent Seven, I guess. Tesla, Meta, Microsoft are all reporting earnings after the bell. Okay. We have some earnings this morning on Starbucks and AT&T, so we'll get a little bit of a glimpse as to how the technology sector is playing out here. So, again, as we head into FOMC, obviously the expectation is that we'll probably remain in some sort of range until that announcement. Assuming that the information is, I guess we're running with the assumption that most of the information is already baked in or in anticipation of maybe holding steady on interest rates. So maybe not making any significant changes to interest rates. So, but nonetheless, it's probably unlikely that we get any major players, making any sort of significant purchases prior to that, right? So as a result, it'll probably more likely remain in range. I'm specifically talking ES, NASDAQ, and I guess to some degree gold. Okay. So all those markets, the expectation is that in anticipation of this news event, that we will probably remain in some sort of range. Okay. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the charts here. See what we can what context we can pull out of the market to kind of give us an idea of where the market is headed. Well, I'll start off with the gold chart. And again, the metal complex is quite amazing as to the bullish run that we're currently in. Looking at the daily chart, you can see that we had a gap open, again indicating that there's a strong interest in participating and paying a premium to be part of this market. Okay. Yeah, gold is quite the mover. Okay, with its cohort in silver. Okay, so in any case, the market does appear to be in quite a bullish move here. I'm going to kind of take a look here at the ADX and DMI indicator here. We've gotten up to a reading of 40 now on the daily chart in the gold, and we see nice separation here between the positive and negative DI. Okay, diverging, positive and negative diverging, indicating that we are in a very strong trend currently in the gold market. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart. We're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance range here for a moment and see what we can gather here. So we'll turn this off here, and then we'll leave the visible range volume profile. This was, I think, generated. All right, so here we are. So you can see that price is above the value range that's established here on the right-hand side. You can see that we continue to make higher highs and higher lows. I'm going to go ahead and turn on our ribbon. Okay, so a ribbon of moving averages should not be a surprise here. That price is above all our moving averages. Okay, again, giving us indications that we are very much in a strong move. Quite extended as I open up my VWAP here, and this will become clear when we get down to the 30-minute chart. But you can see that we're above our 9 and above our VWAP. Maybe showing a little bit of signs, a little bit of indecision now here at the 5,300 level. Okay, we were trading in this 50-50 range and not in the not so distant past here. Okay, so again, a market continues to show signs of strength. As I mentioned, we're above the volume profile here, above value, kind of staircasing our way higher. Okay, taking a look at the 30. All right, now again, looks like we found a little bit of resistance here at the 5,300 level, if you want to call it resistance. But we did get a reaction. We did not make a new high. Okay, in this market. So 5,300 does appear to be an area, at least of some temporary resistance in this market here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that in as in red, okay, indicating that this is a area that price has not been able to exceed. We did manage to come back and cross below the 9 EMA. Price is above the VWAP. Okay, so we're going to maybe on the shorter time frame, we are seeing maybe a little bit in the way of some indication that maybe some weakness, okay, in this market. Would not surprise me in the least if we didn't manage to come back to this 52.41 level. We did react away from it once. Could not secure the participation to the buy side that I guess maybe everyone was expecting here. So and then at the end, we've created a little bit in the way of a resistance area here. Okay, up at the highs. Okay, so a little bit of resistance up here at the highs around 5,300. Assuming that we are unable to make a new high, then we could say that maybe maybe it's a little bit of a repair day here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this. I think this is a fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and open up the visible range volume profile here, okay, and see what's taking place. We're going to go ahead and move this over to the right if I can. I don't want this. All right, let's turn that off. Visible range. Looks like I managed to remove it. So let's go ahead and add that back. Visible range. Let's say volume. There it is. Okay, so I'll need to adjust this a bit because I do like to have some this. So we'll just color this in gray. Okay, we'll create the middle in yellow. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you can see that we're well above value. Okay, would not surprise me maybe if we kind of fill out this volume profile that we have here on the right hand side. All the value is down below here at 5,100. Would not surprise me if we maybe spend a little bit of time here kind of filling out and maybe creating a little bit more balance in this volume profile here on the right-hand side, okay? So it'll be interesting to see if we do manage to get below VWAP here. Would not surprise me if we did manage to get down to 51.71, and that could create a little bit of a range here at current levels, okay? So let's go ahead and now take a look at that visible range volume profile here. Not visible range. We're going to take a look at initial balance. We're going to take a look at Asia here to start and see what kind of market, right? Well, you can see that we had quite the impressive move here. If you were a part of group coaching yesterday, we talked about the possibility of gold extending higher here. And I don't know if I did, I believe I did some extensions, and I think we pretty much met some of these extensions that we had talked about. But if I do this little measure here of Fibonacci here, you can see that we exceeded the target that we had originally kind of arrived at here around 52.70 was the 100% extension of this move. And if I adjust this down to the beginning, right, to the beginning of this swing, well, you can see that we hit it spot on, right? 5,300 is the measured move, okay, of this swing here, right? We talked about that a little bit in group coaching, right? So now we've kind of reacted away from this. We've managed to get back down, okay. We managed to get back down to the VWAP and kind of cross below it. Now, again, the next level for me of interest, at least on the bullish side, would be 52.31. Okay, we've already reacted somewhat away from this level, but we're not able to find the participants to make a new high. So if we're not able to find the participants to make a new high, well, what does the market do? Well, market will begin to auction to the downside until they find some buyers. Okay, market seeks balance, and right now it's found a little bit of balance here between 52, let's say 52.60 and 5,300. Okay, it's found some balance in this area. All right, taking a look at the initial balance range for London. London does appear to be a little bit more in the way of range. Okay. We've actually crossed below, right? We've extended below the initial balance range. And now we're right up against it, reacting away from initial balance low, kind of giving us the indication that maybe there is a possibility that price could maybe make a little bit of a pullback here, right? Maybe a pullback again to VWAP, maybe a deeper pullback down to this 51.64 level, okay? In any case, the idea here is that at any point during this move, the folks in Asia who I guess were primarily responsible for this move to the upside could find that a pullback would be well received and may find that as an opportunity to add to their position. Okay, so that's something that we need to be aware of, because as we all know, we are in a very strong move on a higher time frame to the upside. So kind of marrying our shorts is probably not the best course of action here. Okay, if we are going to take short positions, we have to understand that it is a bit counter trend, and we should probably I guess look at it more from a scalp perspective than any sort of sustained move here to the downside. Okay, so nonetheless, again, similar kind of view. Yeah, I would say yes. I would say it's a little bit risky to kind of go for a short in the gold market, as much as it seems like it's overdue for maybe a little bit of a pullback. We had a very nice and strong move here in Asia. London was not really embracing the idea of taking or continuing to the long side, so it's kind of retraced here a little bit. Again, I would say this 52.30, 52.31, or somewhere along VWAP could offer us maybe a nice opportunity to the upside. If we do not hold that level, would not surprise me if we were to come back maybe closer to this 5,200 level. Okay, maybe retest the conviction of some of these buyers before we again, if I could do this opposite extension that we were kind of alluding to when we arrived at our target. The same can be done here, right? And kind of arrive at maybe some levels. Well, here it is, 52.90, right? 52.90 seems to be like a logical level where we could potentially look at a possibility of price reaching and then reversing away from. That would make a very symmetrical little pullback for maybe for the rally to resume. Okay. And you only made $250. Yeah, again, Arizona, we can't really focus on that aspect. You know, we had our hypothesis. We secured our trade based on our rules and model, and we live with the result, right? We can't beat ourselves up because we didn't secure the amount of equity that we were looking for, right? More importantly is that we followed our process here, okay? All right. And nonetheless, here we are. Again, I think we need to remain patient here. I think there's certainly a possibility here that we remain in range leading up to the FOMC meeting. Okay, so that's something to kind of keep in mind here. I am going to set a little bit of an alert here at this 5209 level, 5210 level. I'm going to go ahead and see price. At condition value, let's say crossing, I mean, not crossing, but yeah, maybe crossing. Let's say 5210. Okay. Price value, we'll say 5210. Okay, that would be my kind of area here. So we'll go ahead and add that alert. Okay, we'll go ahead and create that alert there. So if price should come to this level, that is a level that I would be interested in potentially participating. Okay, possibly for a long opportunity, assuming that I get the price action that aligns with that view. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the silver market. Okay, and take a look at the silver market, take a look at the daily, and similar, but not quite to the same degree here. Silver is following these kind of a weird set of candles here. We got a nice push to the upside. We got an inside day yesterday and kind of created a wick inside this candle, but did not, unlike the gold, did not create a little bit of a separation here or a gap to the upside. Instead, we created another inside candle, which indicates to me that maybe we are going to be in this range here for a bit. Okay, right now maybe we're a little bit of a pause on the rally that we've been seeing in silver. All right, so right now we've had 2 straight inside days. Okay, in this market, this is kind of a weird kind of formation here, right? We had a open. An attempt maybe to make a new high, and then was kind of, I guess, assuming rejected. Okay. And now we've opened at the top end of the range. Okay. Top end of this range, still inside this bullish candle. Nonetheless, it still remains quite bullish. Like if I were to look at the readings that we were kind of quoting, we still have a reading of 71 on the momentum indicator with our DMI. We see a not quite the same kind of separation that we saw in the gold. Okay, this will probably be a little bit clearer as we move down some time frames, but nonetheless, we remain in some sort of bullish structure to the upside. We're above our visible range volume profile. This area down below here around 91, which we're well below at this point, would seem like a logical level of some good support, but we're a good 20 points away from that level. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart again, market showing maybe a little bit of signs of maybe a little bit more in the way of range, kind of maybe even indicating a little bit of a topping maybe pattern here, right? We're seeing a lot more in the way of range kind of price action of late here. We're going to see if I can turn off my initial balance here for a moment. Okay, it's kind of interfering with what I'm trying to. So yeah, so seeing much more in the way of some overlapping price. Certainly not. We're certainly not trending with the same amount of vigor and momentum that we have in the past. and we're starting to develop a little bit of volume at these levels, right? So the question now becomes, do we have the participants to drive price higher, or do we have participants that maybe are potentially maybe building a little bit of a portfolio here to potentially drive price lower? Okay, even though we are making higher highs and higher lows, we're not doing so in a how we say an impressive way. Okay, it seems that we are to some degree kind of grinding to the upside. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. You can see that price is kind of hovering in this range. We see we've got a high volume node reading here. I'll go ahead and see if I can modify this to a red color instead of black. Black doesn't point to my point of control here. So we'll move that point of control, make it out a red color. So you can see that we reacted away from the point of control of this visible range volume profile. Okay. I would say we probably have reached that little pullback that we're kind of looking for in the gold market. Taking a look at the DMI indicator, right? You can see that we're a little bit of indecision as to which direction they want to take this market. Our ADX is kind of flattening, right? Indicating that the momentum has actually, weakened quite a bit here. And now we have an ADX reading of below 20. And then we have both our negative and our positive basically on top of each other. Okay. Indicating that there's really no aggressive selling or buying pressure here at the moment. Okay. So a little bit weaker, I would say, kind of looking at this in comparison to the silver market. So let's go ahead now and take a look and see what the other sessions were able to do with this market. And it doesn't appear maybe that we might have had maybe a little bit of weakness here. So let's take a look. All right, so let's start off with the Asia market here and take a look and see what Asia provided us. So looking at Asia, we did peak above. Okay, we did peak above, but not in any sort of dramatic fashion here, right? So we got to the 100% of the initial balance range for Asia, and we reversed back to the other side of value. Okay, so kind of indicating that we are maybe starting in some sort of maybe range kind of price action. Okay, to the point where maybe I'm starting to want to identify 116 as an area of resistance. 112 or 111.75 as an area of support. Okay, because we are starting to see that maybe silver has kind of moved into some sort of range market. Now, you've heard me say this before. I'll say it again. If I can contain price in a box, then I'm in some sort of range, right? So right now I can contain price in the box. I have not been able to do that in the not so recent past. So we are in some sort of range. Okay, how long we stay in the range is yet to be determined, but right now we are very much in range. Okay, so let's take a look at let's modify this to not Asia but London, and let's see what London was able to do with this market. And London really wasn't able to do much more than Asia. Okay, Asia drove higher and pulled back. London pulled down and reversed back. So, like I said, are kind of waffling here, right? No real direction. Okay, so I would say headed into the New York session, and I guess prior to this FOMC statement, we're probably headed into a market that seems to be in range, seems to be in some sort of consolidation. Okay, so I'm going to be again probably looking at the extremes of these ranges, seeing what kind of opportunities present themselves as the session moves forward here. Okay, so I'm going ahead and again we have kind of following this is that we have a little bit of a indecisive candle here that's currently developing, rather narrow range here, and again probably waiting in anticipation of the FOMC statement here. Okay, so we need to remain patient in this market. Right now we're in the middle of the range, probably not an area that I want to be super active, right? So if I am going to participate in this market, may consider maybe an opportunity up here at the 116 level as a maybe potential, potential to with the idea of the market potentially fading back in. Okay. Or I can wait to maybe this 112 level and maybe look for it to kind of rotate back to the other side, right? Because again, headed into the session, I would say that the market, the silver market, does appear to be in some sort of range, neutral. My view, at least on the shorter time frame, is neutral. Okay. All right. Let's see. I was going to take a peek here to see how much range we had remaining, and we did get to this is the average daily range indicator here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Oops, turn this on and collapse this. You can see that price reached the average daily range, a statistical level. And what did price do? Well, it reversed away from it. Okay. Now it looks like we're trying to see if maybe we make another attempt at the highs, and we'll have to see, right? So again, 116 would be a level that we could potentially consider to, for a fade opportunity if we are of the belief that the market is in some sort of range. Otherwise, we would have to witness or see that maybe if we're looking for a momentum trade, well, we need to see price get above 116 and hold. Okay. Otherwise, the idea is that we'll continue in this range. All right. Okay, let's move on now to the crude oil market, which I think is kind of maybe a market that we should maybe start looking at a little bit more closely now, since we're getting a little bit more in the way of a move. Let's take a look at the daily chart. And the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to turn off our ADR temporarily. We'll turn it back on here in a bit. Looking at the daily chart, you can see that the market is starting to pick up here to the upside. Okay. We did manage to have price close some of these resistance levels that I have identified. Now yesterday's price action closed above a prior resistance zone, and this current candle was able to hold it. Okay. So indicating that maybe we are starting to develop a little bit in the way of trend. Now I've identified this level of 65 based on some sort of measure here that I made on these, this one here, right? This most recent swing, right? So we've kind of reached the target, or not reached, but we have a target in mind here of 65.31 on the daily chart. Now, again, this is not something that's going to necessarily happen today, right? The idea is over the next few days that's kind of the measured move is kind of that's kind of what's kind of leading us to target here on the daily chart. Okay. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart, again, giving us some indication that maybe we are starting to see some bullish kind of aggressive bullish buying here. Okay. You see that we're developing a 4-hour candle that's quite impressive. We have about an hour away before this candle closes. And if it closes in this fashion, well, that's giving us some indication we're breaking some levels. We're, kind of following the pattern of a bullish, right? Higher highs and higher lows, right? We've already got a higher high. We got a higher low. It looks like we're in the midst of developing yet another higher high. Okay. Looking to the left and seeing where this market could take us. Well, there it is, right? 65.31. I have here over the left-hand side that would take us back to some maybe highs of October. Okay. So interesting market, I would say, on the 4-hour, or I say we're starting to see in the crude oil market. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the 30-minute chart, see what the 30-minute chart has to say. Again, you can see that we've had our series of 30-minute candles here to the bullish side. We have broken some structure to the upside here in this market. So let's take a look here. I was going to do a little fixed range volume profile. I don't think I did that. Fixed range volume profile, and just to get a sense of where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that in. Okay, there it is. So we're well above the 62.58 level. Okay, indicating that we have folks that are willing to participate and pay a premium to be part of this market to the upside. Okay, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight 30-minute candles to the upside. Now maybe a little bit overdue for maybe a little bit of a pullback. Okay. a little bit of a pullback in this market. So a pullback back to the 9 EMA would be well received, because it would give me an opportunity to participate in this move. Find it very difficult to really manage risk at these levels when at the high. So I'll probably be looking for some sort of pullback back to the 9 EMA, maybe back as low as VWAP if I'm going to participate in this market. All right, taking a look at the initial balance ranges across the various sessions. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at the, let's see, we're going to start off with the Asia range here. All right, so looking at the Asia, you can see that really Asia wasn't really all that interested to the upside. Okay, actually, as we got closer to the open, actually kind of broke down to the sell side. And as London, continues to impress, London said, "Okay, I'll take that." And London basically has taken the market higher. Okay, London seems to be quite keen on participating to the upside in this market. We got a little bit of a failed auction here, right? We auctioned lower, and now we are in the midst of a pretty strong, momentous move here, sustained move to the upside. If I look at my DMI indicator, my DMI indicator is giving me nice separation here. I have a reading of close to 40 on the ADX, and I have nice separation between my positive and my negative DI, indicating that I'm in a relatively strong move here to the upside. Again, my view remains bullish, okay, I would say, but that I need to look for maybe better opportunities to participate in this market if I am going to look to participate in it, okay? All right, but headed into the session, I would say that I'm rather bullish, okay, in this market, and I probably haven't been bullish in crude oil in quite some time. We've been in some bearish structure for quite a bit of time here, okay? All right, let's see. Taking a look here before we move on to the equity markets here. I just wanted to kind of maybe put on my marketing hat here for a little bit, kind of encourage folks, if you are not already a subscriber, to consider to subscribe to the channel. The like indicator is a little bit light on the likes. If you are finding that this information is indeed supporting you in your ability to navigate the markets, I would encourage you to hit a like. And if you want to maybe deeper understanding and enjoy this analysis on maybe some other things that I've done here, there's also a membership level that you can get access to some other videos and maybe deepen your understanding and context of how I enter and exit trades and things of that nature. Okay. So with that, guys, let's go ahead now and take a look at the NASDAQ. I know that everybody is kind of chomping at the bit here to understand what the NASDAQ is going to do. So let's take a look at the daily. The daily chart has kind of opened up here to the upside. We are breaking, okay, this kind of triangle pattern that we've kind of drawn here. Let's go ahead and collapse this here. We're starting to see, we've broken this channel pattern, right? To the upside now and testing the highs. Now we were having a very difficult time getting above 26,000, but with the close of yesterday's session, we closed above. We closed at 26,073. 26,000 had been an area that was quite resistant to price. Now we're above it, and we're starting to see the buying pressure. Okay. Our positive DI is looking to kind of maybe get above our negative DI, and our negative DI is showing, some weakness here to the downside. Price is above our value area, indicating that folks are willing to pay maybe potentially a premium to be part of this market to the upside. Now, I don't know if they got a sneak peek of the FOMC, whether there was some maybe indication that maybe they are going to continue to relax interest rates. Well, that would also be positive for the markets, and that's kind of why we're seeing the rally. I'm not so sure, but we'll have to wait and see once we get the FOMC statement. Yeah, I would encourage you guys. Yeah, I would encourage you guys to take a look at some of these membership videos that I have created here. Okay, available to the audience here. All right. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. and see what this is saying here. So let's go ahead and collapse this a little bit. All right, so here we are, 4-hour chart, kind of developing a little bit in the way of a bearish candle here at the moment. Maybe the possibility of a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern, okay, on the 4-hour. We have been, there's a good number of overnight longs in this market, right? Right now, developing a little bit in the way of a bearish candle. We're about 50 minutes away before this 4-hour candle closes. This could very well be, again, we're up at the highs here, okay? So we're up at the highs of the market. So it would not be surprising to see that we might find some sellers at these levels, okay? Because we haven't been to this level in quite some time. So it would not surprise me if maybe we did pull back here a little bit. We are a little bit extended. We're a little bit away from this 9 EMA. So back down here at 26,160 could offer us maybe a location if we were interested, maybe to resume our view of maybe resume bullish price moves. Okay. So yeah, 4-hour chart again would say that it's bullish. The fact that we are developing a little bit of a bearish candle is maybe causing me a little bit of pause here to see maybe then we might see a little bit of a pullback. I have this value area high from the visible range here at 26,108. That could serve as a nice location to entertain along, assuming I got the right price action to indicate that. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and open up. Okay, so we're kind of looking at London here at the moment. So London did break to the downside, found kind of, I guess, created a little bit of a failed auction. But now we've made a second attempt and actually making a lot more progress in this possibility of maybe moving lower here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and identify this area here as a potential area of some support, right? Because that's the most recent area where price left to the bullish side. We're seeing that price may close below this initial balance range from London. And I would say that, certainly 26,190 doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility here. I'm going to take a look and see if I can open up settlement price. And we have settlement price well below the market. Okay. Settlement price often acts as a magnet to price. Okay. So it would not surprise me if we are able to get below this 26,200 level, that maybe we pay a visit to this settlement price down below. Okay. Down below here at 26,070. But the first order of business here is that we need to get below 26,200. And I think that would open up the door for price to reach this settlement price from yesterday. Okay. Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile here for yesterday's session. I believe it's probably above, but we'll confirm that. Okay. So there we are. There's the open into the close of the session. And you can see that price is well above value, indicating that there's a good amount of interest here to the long side. If we open up the initial balance range, not for London, but for Asia, you can see that that Asia was very supportive in a up move, okay, in this market, right? So we got a nice little extension of the initial balance range. We reached pretty much the 200% extension of the original initial balance range. So a nice move here in the middle of Asia, reaching 26,000 high here of 26,349 here. Okay. Before we saw any sort of relaxing in price. Now we are developing a little bit of maybe a topping pattern, right? We have this, what we call kind of M pattern, right? You guys see that, right? So what is that an indication of? Well, maybe it's an indication of that maybe price will head lower. Okay. That's kind of what it's indicating to me anyway. So again, we'll have to remain patient. Okay. We do have FOMC that could add some volatility to the markets, but yeah, double top. Looks like a double top to me. And if assuming that we can potentially break and close below this level of 26,260. It would not surprise me that we revisit 26,200 and possibly down to settlement price at, let's say, 26,080. Okay. That's not the exact price. It's an approximate. Okay. All right. So headed into this session, I would say neutral. I'm going to call it neutral to bearish. I would say that I'm seeing some price action that would indicate that maybe the market wants to maybe revisit some of these lower levels. It's made a recent high here, and I think it's maybe a little bit of a repair day in anticipation of the FOMC meeting. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a neutral to bearish reading as we head into the session. Okay, let's go ahead now and take a look at the ES here and see what the ES is giving us. Taking a look at the daily, we're getting a pretty strong rejection candle here up at the highs here, right at the 7,000, 7,020 level. Nonetheless, we did open a candle, we opened with a new high, right? Above the close of yesterday. So indicating maybe that we will see some potential continuation. But we are getting some rejection up here at the highs. Okay. Right. So again, we won't know exactly how this candle will close, right? We won't until the end of the session or end of the day, I should say. But in any case, right now we are up at the highs here. Okay. Trying to, at least of late, trying to move the higher. Now, the question is, we need to ask ourselves, well, how well is the market accomplishing this path? Well, up until recently, it was doing a relatively good job. We are developing a little bit of the way of a selling wick here up here at the 7,020, 7,040 level. So it'll be interesting to see if we continue to show signs of some weakness here. All right. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Again, there's that weakness that we were seeing, that wick that we were seeing in the daily is exhibiting itself as a bearish candle here. Okay. Now we've had bearish candles like this before, right? And that's caused a little bit of a pullback. Bearish candle didn't quite create the pullback that maybe a bearish candle like this would maybe in normal circumstances create. But we have, I would say, a much stronger, maybe three bar reversal pattern here. Prices managed, assuming that we close below, will close below our VWAP and maybe beginning to challenge our 9 EMA. Okay. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. We'll see where price is in relation. 30-minute chart, price is below our VWAP, below our 9 EMA. Okay, this is kind of, we were kind of in range. We broke below and we've stayed below so far. Okay, so as long as price remains below our VWAP, below our 9 EMA, my view is probably going to be a little bit more on the bearish side than bullish. Okay, if price manages to get above our 9, above our EMA, then maybe I can start beginning to look to maybe more bullish kind of opportunities. But I need to see, right now we're kind of in a pattern of lower lows and lower highs, right? We created a lower low, then we created a lower high, and now we made a lower low, right? So now the question is, do we continue to make lower lows and lower highs? If we continue to make lower lows and lower highs, then I have to align myself to a more kind of bearish view on this market. Okay. Let's go ahead and see. So I think this is let's see. This is Asia, right? So Asia, from initial balance perspective, managed to exceed the range, but we didn't get too far. We got to the 100% extension, and looks like we found some sellers in this market right around the 7,040 level. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that level because that's the most recent level of resistance that we've seen, or most recent level of rejection that we've seen. We have settlement down below here. And as I mentioned, for the NASDAQ, it would not surprise me in the least if we were to come back and revisit 7,008 or settlement, okay, before we make any sort of move in any direction. All right. So in any case, Asia was a little bit mixed with respect to initial balance, kind of indicating maybe a little bit more in the range of range. I believe London was probably not all that much better here. We'll go ahead and open up London. All right. So London actually is giving us an indication that we're seeing maybe some aggressive sellers, right? We've broken the initial balance rates to the downside, and now we're beginning to maybe show some signs that maybe we extend here, maybe as low as this settlement price, maybe as low as this 200% extension, and that would align with the value area low that's been developed here on the right-hand side in this visible range volume profile. Okay. All right. So again, similar view here, probably maybe a tad more bearish, I would say, in the ES. It seems like ES maybe is a little bit further along in this bearish kind of view that I have on the equities. I feel like the market has a very visible target of settlement to reach here at 7,008 before it makes any sort of reversal in price. I think we're relatively close to that level without at least the point of control, and possibly down to this visible this settlement price here in the bottom. So I'm going to give the same rating I gave to the Nasdaq on the ES. I think maybe even to some degree a little bit stronger to the downside. I'm just going to take a peek here at the DMI indicator and see what the DMI indicator is telling us. So DMI ADX is really not that strong. It's still above 20. We are seeing both the negative and the positive sloping down, which is a little bit surprising given the general direction that we're seeing in price. So a little bit of divergence, I would say, between price and momentum at the moment. Okay, it's not aligned with necessarily with the current direction. We have a sloping down in both cases, so a little bit of divergence here. So I don't know if that means that maybe we will be picking up some participants here as we get closer to the lows here, possibly to the upside. Okay, so a little bit of divergence right now to the downside. That's something to keep in mind. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at with the time remaining here. We'll take a look here at the Dow. Looking at the Dow, we'll start off with a daily chart. Again, daily chart again in range. In range to lower, I would say. Let's go ahead and remove some of these drawings here, collapse this here. Okay, so you can see that we're having a little bit of trouble getting above this 49,915 level. We've been pretty much barcoding here of late in the Dow. Look, if you don't think this is barcoding, well, look at the DMI indicator. How much more overlap do we need here without any specific direction before we say that we are in range? Okay, DMI indicator is indicating that as well, right? So no aggressive buying or selling going on, and the momentum is not in any direction. If anything, it's weakening, right? Direction, there's directionless. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart again showing some signs of weakness here, much like the other equity markets that we've been reviewing to date. Again, showing some kind of beginning to kind of staircase its way here. We have not been able to make a new high in some time in this market. Okay, every time we make an attempt to get closer to making a new high, that's been rejected, and now we're starting maybe to begin a path to the downside. We see that price is below our 9 and below our VWAP, giving us an indication here that maybe price will continue maybe to revisit some of these lows here. Okay, taking a look at the fixed range volume profile just to see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. Let's see if I can locate the start of yesterday's session here. Looking at the 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look here, and I'm just kind of curious to see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we'll go ahead and locate that here. Try this again here, all the way to here. There it is. Okay, so you can see that the market is in some sort of range. All right, I thought maybe we were extending the range to the downside, and instead we are inside range from yesterday, indicating that the market is somewhat in balance. When the market is in balance, unless I have a range strategy that I can use to take advantage of it, I need to sit on my hands, right? I need to look for better price location to participate in this market. Right now, I would say 49,000 seems to be maybe a relatively good price location to see, to expect some sort of participation maybe to the buy side. But the buyers, right, managed to get down to this 49,000 level. Did rally the market some, but not in a very impressive way before the bears again, kind of assume control of this market again. Okay, so again, let's take a look here at the initial balance ranges across the various sessions here. Let's take a first look at Asia and see what Asia was able to do with this market. Asia was pretty much range bound, right? Really no direction in Asia. Okay, and London right now is in the process of driving price lower. Okay, So we see that price is has managed to get it below our initial balance range. So we have maybe a couple of visual targets here. We have 49,000 down below here that would serve as a reasonable target for the current kind of price action that we're seeing, because we are beginning to get lower lows and lower highs. We broke below this most recent support level, okay, and now we have a continuation bar to the downside. Do we get a little bit of a pullback, maybe back to retest the lows of the initial balance range before we continue our path to the downside? We'll have to wait and see. We're talking about an initial balance range for London that is showing us signs that maybe there is some further downside opportunity in this market. Prices below our VWAP, below our 9 EMA. Yeah. So again, I think across the board, neutral to bearish in the equity market seems to be the overall view here. Okay. All right. With the time remaining here, guys, we'll make one last pass across the various markets just to kind of summarize kind of our position and our stance as we head into New York. Like we've witnessed here, gold has been in this, monster move here to the upside. It would not surprise me if we, remained in some sort of range here up until FOMC before it decides to make its next move. So I would say neutral to bullish. Okay. I'm going to say neutral to bullish in the gold. Okay. I do see that maybe we could stay in some sort of range leading up to FOMC, at which point maybe we get that move that maybe continuation move that we're expecting. So neutral to bullish in the gold. Crude oil, I would say up until this most recent candle, I would say bullish, assuming that we can hold this prior level that we broke, assuming that we can hold 62.80. I would say that there's maybe continuation opportunity in the crude oil market to the upside, but we do need to hold 62.80. Okay, 62.80 is my line in the sand in the crude oil market. And then we did skip silver. Silver is showing again a little bit more. I would say silver is showing more range than gold. Okay, so a very kind of range kind of bound here at the moment. Assuming that we can get above this 116 level, that could change. We did break our channel here to the upside, but we're still in the box. Okay, we're still in the box. So until price can make a new high, I'm going to continue with my range view or range sentiment in the silver market. Equity markets, I think we've already alluded to. I'm kind of neutral to bearish overall in the equity markets, right? So right now we're seeing a little bit of structure that would indicate that maybe price will come back, at least in the NASDAQ. Maybe there's somewhat of an expectation here. We have the point of control of this visible range, and we have settlement from yesterday, 2 visual targets for price to maybe come back and revisit. Okay. So neutral to bearish in the NASDAQ. The same is true here in the ES, although we have come into an area that I'm expecting price to reach, and maybe that would be my first indication where maybe buyers could potentially step in. Okay. This is an area where price did break this structure here to the upside. So what was resistant now becomes support, right? So this area right around this break here would be supportive, and that would keep us aligned with this kind of range view that we have in the equity markets. Okay. And then last but not least, okay, neutral to bearish here in the Dow, right? So right now we had a nice little swing here to the downside. We made an attempt here to rally the market. We're not too successful before sellers step back into the market, and now we're in range, really looking for some sort of catalyst here, because we have been overlapping in price here for some time, ever since the I guess midday yesterday, right? Really didn't offer us much in the way of opportunity, and this could also be a function of the fact that we have FOMC coming up here later this afternoon. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you guys. Again, just to summarize, I would say neutral to bullish in the gold market, somewhat bullish in crude oil, and I would say silver probably more neutral, And then across the equity markets, I'm gonna give it a neutral to bearish kind of rating overall. Okay. And with that, if there's no other questions, guys, I will leave you to your charts and your analysis and your opportunities in the market today. Okay. So as we close this session and close other sessions, again, don't hesitate to leave a comment or two. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do something positive to support this channel in continuing to provide this analysis for you. If you are interested in maybe a deeper understanding in some of these, in how I go about finding trades and locating trades and some of the context that I use to arrive at those, consider yourself to become a member. Otherwise, guys, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys, and we'll talk again soon.